Hello and welcome to my video about Aurelian, the new wargame of Sir Mustafa. I was lucky to be a playtester of this game, and today I want to give you a short introduction and show you how the game plays. This video is divided into 4 parts. The first 2 parts cover the preparation, everything you need to do before playing a battle, from the selection and modification of the armies to the choosing and setup of a scenario. The third and fourth part will cover the battle itself. The game is available at the Honor website. Please note that it has been released as a PDF only, both in a full colorful version and a printer-friendly version. In this video I will use a printed version of the full PDF. The cards and unit tiles you will see later in this video can be downloaded for free from the Honor website. Please note that you can also buy them, beautifully printed, at drive-thru cards. You will find the link for that on the Honor website too. Now let's begin our introduction. The first thing we have to do is to decide on an army, actually 2 armies of course. And you have the choice of 4 armies which competed in the era of the game, which is the crisis of the 3rd century, a time in which the Roman Empire actually was torn apart and was fighting against barbarians on all borders and was, well, in a state of constant civil war within. So the armies you can choose are the Romans, and actually both players can play the Romans, which is the nature of a civil war, of course. But you also can play the hairy barbarians of Germany, or the barbarians of Dalmatia, or the very, very civilized Sassanids, which, well, equaled the Roman Empire. For this video, I decided on playing a Roman against the hairy barbarians of Germany. You will find any information you need right in the rulebook, and for the Romans there is a strong basis of cohorts which actually both represents the legions, the auxiliaries, and, well, the new legions which were really just makeshift of whatever a general could lay his hands on. Then the Romans can take some auxiliary archers and slingers. You can take light cavalry and massed cavalry, and in addition, and this is very special for the Romans, you can pick foederati, which are actually auxiliaries which were drafted in from the Germans or the Sarmatians. You have 200 points to spend for a standard game, and this is exactly what you see here. This cavalry option here is heavily enforced by Sarmatians. You have here the horse archers of Sarmatia and the cavalry, and since the Roman does use them as foederati, there are some special aspects in the rules. I'm going to explain you later in the use of cards that you can use cards to enhance your units, but you can't enhance foederati, so you get them actually quite cheap. In the left corner of each unit tile you see a number in a Roman gold coin, and this number is how much the unit costs. And you get the foederati 1 point cheaper, 1 coin cheaper. As for the infantry, we have several Roman cohorts. The Roman player has to pick at least 6 of them. This is why they have a yellow background in their name. Well, we have several states of experience here. As you can see on the left, we have 2 veteran cohorts, well, among the finest soldiers in the Roman Empire, but there were only very few of them left after several decades of civil war. Then we have at least 3 experienced cohorts which are quite fine but not as good as the veterans, and then we have 2 raw cohorts which aren't that fine at all. In order to shield them from enemy fire, we have 3 archers and slingers. And to give them a little bit firepower themselves, we have 2 auxiliary archers. We just could go ahead and play with these unit tiles. But one of the things about wargames is I really love miniatures. And since I was the lucky one who provided the pictures for these unit tiles, we are actually playing with exactly these miniatures. Before we are going to have a look at the Germans, at the adversary of this game, there's a special thing. After you've picked your army, you can modify it, but not on your own whim, but this is the only incident in the game where you roll dice. They are called the fates. The fates actually are dice that give you special aspects to your armies. I'm going to tell you more about that in the game. Now let's just roll the dice and see what we get. Before we are now going to roll the dice, we have to remember that we have a civilized army here, and being civilized, the Roman can forego one of his fates dice and instead choose any one adjunct. And this is what we are going to do. I can't tell you everything about every adjunct, but what I want to show you is that there are some that are really very useful, especially for the Romans, the logistics officer. Here he is. The other 4 dice, we got an artillery adjunct, I'm going to tell you about that later, and we have a priest and 2 special cards, which are very special indeed, because as you can see from the numbers embedded in the laurels, normal cards are in a number range of 1 to 6, so a 7 and an 8 is very good indeed. Also, the strategic options they offer are very good too. Now let's have a look at the Germans. Here we have to take at least 6 warbands as a core unit of the Germans. As you can see, we've taken 7 and also 3 optimates, which are, well, the chieftains and the household troops of the Germans. Then we have noble cavalry, 3 light cavalry and 4 psiloi. The Germans are not civilized, well, at least at the time, and so they can't choose any adjunct. They just have to roll for them. Here is what the fates had in stock for the Germans. They have 3 heroes which will nicely enhance the performance of the optimates, and we have 2 assets. Here we are going to choose barricades and familiar ground, which will give them another option in the choosing of terrain. This concludes the first part of our video. The next part will be on the choosing of a scenario and the setup of the battle. I hope you will join us again. Thank you very much.